of our proximity to the nuclear power plants at Indian Point and Millstone, what are your views as to whether or not the licenses for those two plants should be renewed? And is there anything the U.S. Congress should be doing about nuclear licensing standards?
It's a very interesting question, and I was struck last week by a statement by Jeffrey Immelt of GE. You may not have seen it. I'm actually surprised it didn't attract more attention. GE, as I think we know, is one of the largest builders of nuclear plants around the world. And Jeffrey Immelt said, you know, in light of Fukushima, it's not at all clear that nuclear power is going to be what we're expanding. And this is a rather dramatic statement. And I will say, it is a big issue for our state, because the truth is, most people may not know this, 50% of the power in our state comes from nuclear power, 50%. So it is completely untenable to think we can just flip a switch and shut that off. We'd all be in the dark. You remember how bad it was last year? We would all be in the dark if we did that. But I think we have learned a lot from Fukushima. I think it's shown the dangers of not investing in safety, of not upgrading equipment, of not training people when you're dealing with something like nuclear power. So I think it underscores again what I just mentioned, the importance of having an energy future in which I think it's pretty clear that will be less on nuclear than many in the United States, and I'm among those. Many of us thought would be the case. Europe is moving away from it, Japan's moving away, and I think it would be very smart for us to reassess our safety, to reassess what the future should look like. And frankly, with the advent of dramatic new forms of natural gas and new technologies, it may not be necessary for us to use nuclear as a base load very far in the future. So I think it's time for a rather dramatic reassessment of the role nuclear power should play in our country's future.
Mr. Oliver?
Well, energy is a big issue. And I don't know how many of you done it, but I did it after the storm. I had the utility company come and test my house for drafts, etc. These two guys came in, they took these big fans, they blew air, they had leaks. And they put up these little plastic tabs and they changed my lights, etc. Well, that next evening, my wife came in, she goes, "Did you turn the heat on?" I said, "No." "Did you turn the heat on?" "We hadn't turned the heat on, but we were toasty." Those few things saved us energy. There is tremendous savings in conservation, tremendous savings in manufacturing and in people's homes, that we could lower our demand for energy. We just don't do it. We just don't do it. If we do these little plastic things you can buy at any hardware store, put them on the doors, the draft. I have an old house. You know, the wind comes in from the closet. You put them there, no wind. No way, it stays warm. We can lower our usage of energy tremendously through conservation. We could do more in terms of mass transit, and relieve our dependency on other fuels as well. Even these electric cars, they have to plug them in, the energy comes from someplace. I heard somewhere that most of our usage of driving is going to and from work, not going to the store on the way, to and from work. We could figure out ways to do it. We have unused mass transit possibilities. Well, we also know that the nuclear power plants, besides the waste that they create and the safety concerns, they also are making tremendous profits. We are paying much more for their energy use than for other sources of energy. And I've supported proposals in the past to take the dollars that they're making in excess profits and put them back into renewable energy sources. Take those dollars. I ran into a guy at the Capitol, one of the clerks, one of the guards there. He says, "Oh, solar panel, we can never do that here." He says, "But you know what? I was in Turkey. I went to Turkey and they took me to a housing development and every house had a solar panel on it." That's the future. Those are jobs. Lower energy costs, increase jobs. Good idea.
Mr. Roberti?
We need comprehensive energy reform, and it needs to move us away from any type of nuclear power that we're currently using. But we also have to live in the reality that we're in right now, that these plants do exist, and to very close to us are coming up for licensing. One of the things we can focus on is safety and regulations of power plants. And also, this is something, I'll use something that's not nuclear power, but you look at the BP oil spill. You know, I went to college down in New Orleans after graduating from school here in Connecticut, and witnessing what happened to a city that I love, getting one of the worst man-made disasters we've ever seen, because there was no regulations that should have been in place, because regulators weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. Now, imagine if that was a nuclear power plant near us. We need to make sure we are really honing in on these safety issues, especially in light of what went on in Japan. And then in the longer term view, it's focused on comprehensive energy plan for our nation, which means jobs, by the way. It means a cleaner environment. It means all these things that as Democrats we love, and I believe as Americans and humans we love. Job creation by investing in the new energy forms of the future, whether it be fuel cell technology or geothermal technology. These are real job-creating possibilities right here in the state of Connecticut, Danbury, and Torrington. We're already doing these things, supporting about 2,400 jobs in fuel cell energy. Geothermal is growing every single day, and we need to look at what those energy possibilities in the future are. Putting people back to work, fixing our electric grid. You walk by a power line, you hear that buzzing noise. That's energy getting wasted. So, you know what? Let's put folks back to work, fixing our entire electric grid here, making things more efficient, making things more environmentally friendly, and making this, making everything better for our nation, creating jobs, helping the economy, and making for a better tomorrow. And this is the type of thing that I will fight for, and I have the great honor to serve the people of the district down in